Hello, I'm Bob Schultz. I'm from Queensbury, New York, and you are watching The Reality Report.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Reality Report on Freedom.tv. I'm Gary Franchi. You know, last week, Joseph Stack flew his plane into the Austin, Texas IRS building, killing himself instantly. And last year, my friend Pete Nosen put an end to his life using a shotgun, killing himself instantly. Both actions sent a message, not just through the patriot community, but to their families. No doubt America heard the message, but has the government taken note? The IRS is the collection arm of the Federal Reserve, perpetuating the fiat money system and enslaving the American people, making us serfs on our own land. In the book, Income Tax Causes Crime, Sam Bryant clearly makes the case that while the income tax system is an element of a communist society, the federal tax burden increases irritability, lowers self-control, increases negative school experiences, increases poor parenting, creates negative social environments, increases unemployment, and raises the percentage of bad marriages and poor relationships. These then lead to increased crime rates, child abuse, divorce, and teen pregnancy. Well, ultimately, it leads to suicide. So, let's take a step back and look at the big picture. Your federal taxes don't pay to pave your roads and put books in your local school. According to the Grace Commission, 100% of what is collected is absorbed solely by interest on the federal debt. It all comes back to money and who controls it. Joseph Stack, Pete Nosen, crime, and divorce are symptoms of the private banker's decision in 1910 on Jekyll Island to take over the money supply and create the Federal Reserve, where they print money and pass it out to their friends on Wall Street as Americans kill themselves, and one man decided to point his weapon at their collection agency. Coming up on tonight's edition of the Reality Report, we show a different perspective on the attack on the Texas IRS building with our exclusive interview with a former IRS agent. He opens a window on the true inner workings of one of the federal government's most feared offices and most hated. Ron Paul scored a major election victory this weekend, while Glenn Beck paid the price for unfairly attacking Deborah Medina. We have the full story on that. Plus, the media spin has begun. We look at how ABC News twisted Bob Schultz's words in relation to the Big Stack attack. And later, we'll introduce our latest enemy of the state and take a closer look at CNN's cyber attack spoof from Sunday. The IRS is in the crosshairs tonight on The Reality Report.
My name is Marcy Brooks, and I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Hi, I'm Joe Banister.
I'm Ed Griffin from Southern California.
I'm Ron Paul. This is Tom Mullen from Tampa, Florida.
I'm Colonel Bob Bowman from Melbourne, Florida.
I'm Jordan Page. I'm from Annapolis, Maryland.
I'm Thomas Woods from Auburn, Alabama.
I'm Ernest Hancock from Phoenix, Arizona.
I'm Mark Sibilia from Buffalo, New York.
I'm Charles Goyette.
And you're watching.
And you're watching.
And you are watching.
And you're watching.
You're watching.
Watching.
And you're watching.
And you're watching.
And you're watching.
And you're watching.
Freedom.
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 Freedom. Freedom.
Freedom.
You're watching Freedom.tv.
Americans, mobilize. Stand together, stand tall. Tell the government you're mad as hell. No longer cooperate with the government. Do not accept the national ID card. Do everything in your power to restore freedom and your individuality back to America. Stop being a country run by the institutions for the institutions. Let's go back to we the people, by the people, for the people, as opposed to we the institution, by the institution, for the institution. Stand up for your individual rights. Stand up for the godliness that's in each and every one of us.
All right, welcome back to the Reality Report, your home for independent news, unspoiled from corporate influence. That's right. Okay. Now, while coverage of Joseph Stack's violent attack on the Texas IRS office building continued over the weekend, ABC News apparently got the memo from the corporate masters at the Council on Foreign Relations. ABC's Lee Farron stated that the anti-government Patriot movement praised Stack's deadly actions and compared the Patriot movement to extremist groups. ABC suggested that We the People Foundation founder Bob Schultz was delighted by the aggressive nature of the anti-government protesters when it was clear that Bob Schultz was speaking about the rise of the Tea Party movement. The ignorance of this is there is a major difference between the anti-government movement and irrational violence. True Patriot movement leaders do not condone the deadly actions of Joseph Stack. Then again, scaring the American people into believing that Tea Party followers are violent murderers is just another vivid example of the desperate measures mainstream media will do to protect their government relationships. Now, there is one person who does feel that Joseph Stack is an American hero.
Joe Stack's daughter, Samantha Bell, called her father's final act that killed an IRS agent and injured 12 others inappropriate. But she does praise the strong stance he took against the government, even calling him a hero.
I think too many people lay around and wait for things to happen. But if nobody comes out and speaks up in behalf of the injustice, then nothing will ever be accomplished.
Is your father a hero?
Yes, because now maybe people will listen.
Paul scored a major victory this weekend at the Conservative Political Action Conference's presidential straw poll, where Republican voters select their favorite for the 2012 Republican presidential nominee. Paul received 31% of the nearly 2,500 votes. Former Governor Mitt Romney finished second with 22%, while Sarah Palin received 7%. Now, you would imagine that such an overwhelming victory would be newsworthy, well, not to the corporate-controlled media. Fox News, which demonized Ron Paul during his 2008 presidential campaign, has now rushed in to do damage control. You see, they've scoffed at the significance of the win, saying it does not mean much of anything on the national stage. However, supporters of Ron Paul had something else to say. Take a look.
Ron Paul.
Ron Paul.
Dr. Paul.
Ron Paul.
Let's just say that Ron Paul's my guy.
Ron Paul has won the presidential straw poll.
Ron Paul won the CPAC straw poll.
He actually won the presidential straw poll. I think he said at 31%.
It's like a huge rejection of the neoconservative agenda.
I'm wondering, why is Ron Paul using such strong terminology to relate to his campaign?
Because it's all about personal liberty.
As you can see, I'm wearing my Young Americans for Liberty shirt today.
The Patriot movement is alive and well.
It's good. You know, it's good that they're talking about Paul.
I feel that Ron Paul is probably one of the best people for our country.
Millions and millions of more people are going to be awakened by Ron Paul's message.
Ron Paul came away with the top score. Over and out.